Hello and good day. Welcome to our video channel, God's Promises. And today's video will be a fast, concise overview, Book of Esther, Chapter 4. Let's get started now. The Book of Esther Chapter 4 is a continuation of the story of Esther and the Jewish people in Persia. In this chapter, we see Esther's bravery and Mordecai's wisdom as they confront the threat of genocide against their people. The chapter begins with Mordecai's reaction to the king's decree allowing for the destruction of the Jewish people. He tears his clothes and puts on sackcloth and ashes as a sign of mourning and distress. Many other Jews also engage in similar acts of mourning and fasting. Esther, who had become queen of Persia, learns of Mordecai's distress and sends him new clothes to wear. But Mordecai refuses to accept them and sends a message back to Esther urging her to go to the king and plead for the safety of her people. Esther is hesitant, knowing the risks involved in approaching the king without being summoned. She sends a message back to Mordecai saying that anyone who approaches the king without being summoned will be put to death, unless the king extends his golden scepter to them as a sign of favor. Mordecai responds with a powerful message, reminding Esther that her position as queen was not a coincidence, but rather part of God's plan to save the Jewish people. He says, "Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Esther 4 verse 14. With this powerful message, Esther is inspired to take action. She asks the Jews in Persia to fast and pray for 3 days and promises to do the same with her attendants. After this time of prayer and fasting, she bravely approaches the king, risking her own life to plead for the safety of her people. The king is initially hesitant to grant Esther's request, but she reveals her Jewish identity and explains the plot to destroy her people. The king is outraged and grants her request, allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their attackers. The Book of Esther Chapter 4 teaches us several important lessons that we can apply to our daily lives. First, it reminds us of the importance of bravery and courage in the face of adversity. Esther risked her own life to plead for the safety of her people, and her bravery ultimately led to their salvation. Secondly, the chapter highlights the power of prayer and fasting. Esther and the Jews in Persia engaged in a time of prayer and fasting before approaching the king, and their faith and reliance on God gave them the strength and courage to take action. Lastly, the Book of Esther Chapter 4 reminds us of the importance of recognizing God's providence in our lives. Mordecai reminds Esther that her position as queen was not a coincidence, but rather part of God's plan to save the Jewish people. We too must recognize and trust in God's plan for our lives, even in times of difficulty and uncertainty. In conclusion, the Book of Esther Chapter 4 is a powerful reminder of the importance of bravery, prayer, and recognizing God's providence in our lives. We can learn from the wisdom and bravery of Esther and Mordecai, and strive to be advocates for justice and compassion in our own lives. Thank you for visiting us today. Please share with us your favorite Bible chapter below in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help our channel grow. Looking forward to see you back here for our next video. Always take good care.